Everyone, and welcome back to the Journal of Huntsman, the podcast talking about everything from lifestyle, wellness, philosophy, and anything else under the sun. I hope everyone's doing well today with whatever's happening and going on. I'm just doing my best, trying to at least with the spring being here and everything and classes ramping up. Staying motivated becomes difficult, but it's also more than worth it at the end of the day. Doesn't mean it's always easy. A lot of the time it's actually pretty hard. I'm lying. A lot of the time it's actually very hard. For a lot of us out there, staying motivated can be difficult. It can be a problem, but it's one of the problems a lot of us have to figure out for ourselves in the, day by day. We prioritize motivation so much in our lives, but what is motivation? It's such a constant thing in our lives. We hear it on TV, hear it in movies and interviews. We hear about people talking about how they stayed motivated through hard times to reach success, but I think that's only half the equation. Barely half of it. Now, before I get into the gist of all that and start breaking into it and everything I have to mention, to everyone listening and anyone tuning in, you're appreciated, you're loved, and you're seen. And I hope that if things are bad, they get better. And if you need help, you find support. Now, on to the big topic, motivation. Motivation is like a driving force. It's a thing that we have internally that calls us to action and can help us persist through adversity and problems towards our goals. It's helpful to be motivated because it makes things like taking action so much easier. But without that motivation, it's also really easy for taking action to become more difficult. Being motivated can feel like the world is just moving with you and things are happening. Like you're making moves, you're focused, you're doing what you should be doing. Motivation can be great that way, and truthfully, I love it. When things were good in my life, I can remember telling people and thinking to myself about how I was so motivated for this or motivated for that. When I first started working out, I was motivated to get stronger and also look better. When I first started reading books, I was motivated because my mom and teachers told me that I should read and loved getting way into books. Going to college, I was motivated to learn more and become successful for my family. Even starting this podcast first came from a motivation to do something, and that was driven by my feelings, values, beliefs, and ideas. Motivation is important in our lives everywhere we go, but I think that it takes up too much attention. Motivation is important, but it's not everything. It's just, like I said before, a part of the equation, and barely even half of that. We talk as if motivated people are always able to find success and become accomplished in life, but that's not really the truth. Success is less about motivation and more about discipline. And discipline comes from our habits, mentality, and actions. Doing the things that need to be done over and over again, whether we feel like it or not. The most successful people don't become that way because they stay motivated all the time, but because they build the habits that let them keep progressing even when they don't feel motivated. Discipline is the thing that builds success, and it's harder to accomplish than motivation because it takes more time and effort, in my opinion. Finding motivation can be a lot like finding a stroke of luck and then riding that out for as long as we can. But discipline is like replacing that luck with skill and effort. It takes more time and consideration. It takes actual focus towards whatever it is that you're doing to make work. For years, I was focused on being motivated. I thought that being motivated to be successful, get stronger, and become rich was what mattered in the path to get there. But it took some time to realize the truth. And now, at 22, I don't think that the two of them are very different. Motivation and discipline are honestly both incredibly important in my life, but for different reasons. I just had to change how I think to realize it for myself. You might benefit from a change too, Who knows? This may actually help you, which is actually one of the motivations that I have for making this podcast, giving out content that may or may not help everyone who's listening. But continuing, if you had teachers or bosses ever tell you that you're simply unmotivated for something, try taking another look at yourself and ask if it's not that you're not motivated, but you're not disciplined. Sometimes it'll be your motivation. You may just not feel like doing anything. You may not be driven towards it or interested in whatever it is at all. Therefore, you lack the motivation to advance forward. Yet the thing about discipline is that it disregards those feelings. One thing I love about discipline as a concept is that it means working whether you feel like doing it or not. If you want to get stronger, you go to the gym, whether you feel like going or not. If you want to get smarter, it means reading and learning things whether you want to or not. If you're working to master a new skill, it means practicing even when you get it wrong and then repeating it until you get it right. Motivation relies a lot on how you feel. And our feelings waver and shift so much throughout a given day, week, or month that it's hard to keep them consistent. Our hearts are like oceans in the sea. They rise and they fall like the tide, and that's why motivation can be so inconsistent as a source of power for us. For us as people, because we lose the fire that's giving us that drive. It's important in our lives because we need a spark to encourage us to change, encourage us to pursue something in a way that'll matter. But if or when that spark dies is when we're left with goals and dreams and questions about how to fulfill them. That's when discipline comes in, and it's required for us. If you don't like the word discipline, you can call it a number of things: grit, perseverance, will, or endurance. When we lack motivation and still want success, then we need something else to get us along the path. And it has to be something that lasts longer than just our regular emotions and feelings. Did you know that 88% of millionaires believe that hard work and perseverance are the top 2 contributing factors to their success? Perseverance is just discipline again. To persevere through something means to persist and possibly delay gratification. When things become bleak and they become difficult, perseverance means to continue onwards. Now, how can we make this work for us today? There are 2 things that I think are important for that. The first is identifying what motivates us, and then the second is starting to build our own self-discipline that starts with habits. Since motivation is tied to more of an emotional reaction, to discover whatever motivates you would take introspective thinking. Not just thinking about what you're doing, but figuring out the why behind it is what's important. For example, when you have assignments for a class, but your friends are inviting you to a party or to go out later, you feel more motivated to finish whatever it is you have to do. Now, the question I would ask is why? Why? Because you want to go out with your friends. Why? Because you like them, or you may have crazy FOMO. And for those listening, FOMO stands for fear of missing out. Why? Maybe it's because you like to go out and you just don't like working. All of these can be reasons why you feel more motivated to complete your work after you get invited out to do something. Understanding yourself is key to finding out how to motivate yourself because you understand what it is you want and don't want, what calls to you and what gives you the ick. If you don't understand or take time to start thinking about this, then your motivation is going to become more of a commodity than a resource to you. It's going to be something that you love having when it hits, but then it'll leave and have you stuck where it left you. Ask yourself important questions. What do you like doing? Why do you like it? How can I make this work in my favor? Find out what motivates you, and then that can help you direct the type of habits that you will use further on. The next step, and this may be a bit harder, but it's just as important as finding out your motivations. Building the habits that will build your discipline. And before I get into this, I have one of the most important things to say. Discipline is a choice, and it's learned behavior. Not everyone can be disciplined, and not everyone appreciates or values it. But the thing is, if you pursue it and learn about it, then you can learn how to make it work for you. Jobs, work, and relationships, these are all areas where self-discipline can come into play and benefit you. Understand that building habits can take time. And during that time, you'll be building your perseverance, endurance, and will by not quitting. Now, the easiest way to utilize this for yourself is by starting small and choosing something that's easy to pick up at first. What I love doing myself is when I wake up in the morning, I make sure to make my bed. I toss my covers in the air and make sure it looks nice and neat before I leave. I've made my bed every morning before I go, and I do it with a purpose, with an intent. Knowing that I did this one small thing I knew that I had to do in the morning, it already sets me up to have a decent day. Because I feel like I've done a little something for myself. I've been a little productive before anything really happens. I made my bed. And then I can get ready for classes, work, a day out, or anything else that, anything else that I want to do. And honestly, it feels good. It feels good building that ability for myself. It's happened over years, but it feels nice noticing and realizing here. Other habits that may be small but can help lead to building discipline for you would be every morning checking your emails for, say, 15, 30 minutes. Even just sitting down on your computer or opening your phone and scrolling through all of your emails to get your head on straight. Another one, meditating after waking up. This is one of my favorites for practicing mindfulness, and studies also show that this will be great for your physical and mental health too. Meditation is just wonderful. I have another video on that if you want to listen to it. I'll talk about the basic benefits, and I'm also going to get more into this topic later on. But continuing to finish, it's the little things that you can do for yourself. It's the little things that you can then build into something bigger. From making your bed, to answering and checking your emails every morning, to hitting the gym, to making sure you write or read, and making sure you eat enough and watch your health. You build discipline through action and doing things more and more. And they start small. Again, it's the little things that you can then build into something bigger. The saying that says, watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. All of it can link together and combine into something greater. They can all combine to lift us to success and dreams that we have in mind. Yet the root of that success starts from how we think and what we make ourselves do. That's why discipline is so important. Motivation was just the feeling like you can change your life, then discipline is the actual action of changing it. Motivation without action just remains a dream in our heads and doesn't set foot in reality. I think the pursuit of those dreams it's what makes humans and people beautiful. It makes us dangerous and it makes us courageous. It makes us dumb and makes us ignorant. It makes us passionate and makes us brave. But we can't pursue our dreams with only thoughts in our heads. That's the reality. You can't get rich just off of plans that you think. You can't get stronger just from watching videos or working out. Just from watching videos on working out. You won't get smarter just thinking about the best things to learn. Action and discipline, perseverance, will, endurance. These are all crucial parts of life that help us become what we want to be. So, what can we do? What will you do today after you turn this video off and get back on track for your day? If you're feeling motivated to do something, then great. You have the will and energy to get moving, and that is wonderful. If you're not feeling so motivated, then I'll say this. Try to curate whatever you're seeing around you. Curate the things you see on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. Try searching for videos that are motivational, inspirational, supportive, or even just cool, and then watch them. Surround yourself with voices that are telling you to be better and hold yourself accountable. This is one of the things that I focused on doing at the start of this year. I made sure to watch more videos that I thought would benefit me in my life. That just made me want to get out and work hard, or maybe just be better, do better. And I'm not going to lie, I have a lot of things that I just looked up because I was like, dang, that's got to be so cool to see. Especially on TikTok, I'm not going to lie, I'd be geeking on that app a little bit, or looking at specific edits that just made me feel hyped. But all this is they're constant reminders to improve myself. And that's something that I had the ability to do. And after a few weeks, I started noticing that I was doing better. If you let yourself believe you can do it, then it'll eventually happen. It just takes that little bit of self-discipline to make sure you're active and taking those steps forward. That little bit of self-discipline to make your bed every morning. That little bit of self-discipline to check your emails. To make sure you're eating right. To make sure you're doing a few push-ups every morning. To make sure you're trying to hit the gym. To make sure you're being mindful. You're reminding yourself that every day you can do it. Now, that's my message for you today, and I hope you enjoyed listening. Once again, wherever you are, whatever's going on, wherever you are, don't forget that you're appreciated, you're loved, and you're seen. And I'll see you next time, and stay safe out there.